And welcome back to the table, everyone. Yesterday we played Scenario 2, and I forgot and didn't realize that I had played Scenario 2 once before. That I think was probably the first scenario that I played when I got the Kickstarter back for you all, and it played completely different. So I was worried yesterday that maybe I played Scenario 2 wrong or just completely forgot the rules, but I got it mostly right. I think it just played out differently because I came at it with a completely different viewpoint. Some dice rolls went different, and a different outcome. In my mind, I said, let's go ahead and play on to Scenario 3 then. Set it up. How bad could it go? We're going to take a look then at Scenario 3, Shortage. Okay, comrades, okay, first of all, I thought about trying to read this in some kind of, fake Russian accent kind of a thing. And, yeah, that probably wouldn't be very good. So we'll just read it out. Okay, comrades, I must inform you about a problem that requires our... Okay, in my head, though, when I'm reading this, it totally has a Russian accent. Also, when I play the German parts, there's a German accent, but I'm going to do my best not to offend anybody with really bad accents. Okay, comrades, I must inform you about a problem that requires our immediate attention. A problem of a, shall we say, delicate nature. Lieutenant Boris stood grim-faced before his men and proceeded. We are out of vodka. The demoralizing tidings struck the soldiers with dismay. Hey, don't panic. I shall take care of this. I will cross the fascist lines and get you some. But that will require some suppressing fire. Could you guys do that for me? The following loud cheers assured the lieutenant he would get the best suppressing fire ever. Oh, nice. I've got the map. There's 4 maps. I don't have all of them on the camera at once completely here. Let me just give you a quick tour. We have down here, this is tile 4A. It's got a ruined building there. And if we move up here gently, this is tile 5B with a building there. And then we have over here, this is tile 2B with another broken down building there. And then finally we've got 1A, and we've added E2. So we've got buildings throughout, which is great because if the lieutenant is going to try and stealth his way down, he has a lot of cover potentially, and some craters, which is very cool, kind of new. Didn't have a lot of that in Normandy. I like these maps and the way they look. Still not rocking completely the half square buildings offset, but I think you know what, I got enough of it that it works for me, so I think we're going to have fun with that. Let me go ahead, pause the camera a second. We're going to come back. I'm going to lay something down here so it's easier to see the troop layouts, because they really blend into the maps. So I'm going to pause for a second, get something to cover this up, and then we'll take a look at the troops that will be involved in today's battle. Okay, before I completely pull all the troops out, we'll just look at the scenario setup in its entirety real quick. So first of all, here's the recruitment armies, which we will go in depth in just a moment. Yesterday we started with the Russians. Today we'll start with the German army and then the Russians. But part 3 here, preparation. Each player deploys his units in his own deployment zone. The Russians then will be at the north edge of the map, and then the Germans are at the southern edge of the map. Russian player has the initiative, so there's no need to roll. We know right there Russians have the initiative, and the German player deploys first. Sure, I'll do that. Solo play, it doesn't matter, I don't think, but I'll do it the way they want. Then we'll place the initiative marker on the turn track. And each player is going to have 3 action cards again, and then we'll cover the action cards before play starts. One thing though, and I'm hoping Bart or someone from Devil Pig Games can maybe clarify for me. Here on the setup picture there is a white exclamation mark. That generally denotes some sort of game event. However, I don't see anything here that says there's any kind of game event. My first thought is maybe that's just a typo, or we're missing an event. I'm going to go with typo. So maybe there wasn't supposed to be something there. With that in mind, step 4, the gameplay. The game will last 6 turns. Before the end of turn 6, the Russian officer must be moved off the board through any square of the side marked with red arrows, which is the southern edge of the board. Yeah, of the side marked. I wouldn't want it to be exactly that one hex, or that one, I keep calling them hexes. I'm so used to hexes, but I wouldn't want that one specific square. So I think it's anywhere along that southern edge. He's good. The game ends at the end of turn 6, or as soon as the Russian player gets the officer. So if the officer doesn't get off the board, it's a German win, vice versa, off the board. End of game and victory, Russian victory. If the officer can leave the battlefield before the end of turn 6, or German victory if the officer is eliminated or has not left the battlefield. I'm thinking that's why that exclamation mark is probably a typo. There's nothing in any of this that would indicate something needs to happen. All right, let's go ahead. I'll pause, move this out of the way, and we'll take a look at the units involved in the fight. This time for sure. All right, the Germans today are bringing the Panzer Grenadier platoon, and it's going to have, it's the same as yesterday. 1st Battalion, Panzer Grenadier, 24th, or 24th Panzer Grenadier, or 1st Battalion, Panzer Grenadiers, 24th Panzer Division of the 26th Regiment. Hope that's right. They are bringing today ammo, which we had yesterday. So here's the 3 ammo, which gives +1 on their attack roll. And it doesn't have the Jeep. And instead of like a support group, it's a rifle group. An AT rifle group, to be specific. So the force composition is actually, I think, probably a little bit smaller, which is interesting. Bigger map, fewer troops. Cool. I think the scenario 2 is just maybe more of a get to learn some of the rules. Now we move into some scenarios where there's actually room to maneuver. Because before it was just, a row of troops. They just moved forward, shot at each other. Now we got some room to move around. And that might make this scenario a little more interesting. Then the rifle group does come with 2 fire groups. Nothing special there. But the AT group is actually just a little bit special. It does have good firepower bonus, +3 versus light vehicles, and even a +1 versus heavy. I find that very interesting. It does have a camouflage side, so we can have that hidden and deployed somewhere on the board. I don't think we need to worry too much about it, but it does come with a special ability here, Frightening Shot, which according to the rules, after missing a shot, place a suppressed marker on your target, which is actually very cool because that could help pin the officer down. Then that's the attached rifle group. The main body is the same as yesterday. We have Oberlieutenant Volrath, and 2 fire groups with an MG34. And I think to begin with, we'll put them somewhere in the mobile form so I can move them on the board where I think they might be needed. And that is the German forces. Next, we'll take a look at the Russian forces. And here we have the Russians. It's the same group from yesterday. It's the Volga Rifle Battalion. So it's 1st Battalion, 650th Regiment of the 138th Rifle Division. And we have a support group which has 2 fire teams and a DP-28. And then the main group is bringing back Lieutenant Yuri with a Frontovic and then 2 fire teams. And they're also bringing back grenades. And they are also deploying with 1 less group. So again, just like the Germans, they are bringing fewer units to the table, but there will be a bigger map space to play on. So a lot of maneuverability. This will be interesting to play out. I will go ahead and deploy the troops. I think the only other thing I'm going to share is someone suggested that I have a sequence of play printed out so I don't have to keep flipping to the rule book. So what I did was I grabbed the reference sheet from the rules compendium. Should be the same. So this will have some things to help, little reminders, quick reference chart. But then all of the unit symbols that I need, I'll still keep on the back of the book. But hopefully if I remember enough to play, I won't have to flip to the rules too often. But the two things I need, my symbols and reference chart, should be right there, easy for me to get to. Alright, I will set up and we'll come back and start. I have the camera up just a little bit higher. Hopefully you can see both boards for the German deployment. Germans are deploying first. And yeah, we want to be spread out since we don't know initially where the Russians will be coming from. How I deploy the Russians then are going to be based on how I deploy the Germans. The idea will be to move some Germans up, since I'm going to deploy in these two here, is maybe take over some of these craters to provide cover, get into a building so they got some protection but provide cover, maybe race to get inside that house, which is interesting on the house since its walls are still mostly intact. It's like the only building here with some semblance of normalcy. We have to enter from here, so I'm going to set up a fire group so they can maybe charge and eventually get into the building. Lieutenant Volrath will be, we'll just stick him here, some protection, but these folks can move. And light vehicles cannot enter the crater, so their movement is ixnayed. Let's see. And the MG-34, right, in the MG-34 I want to get into the house as well. I'm going to set them up actually here, deployed. There. Boom. Because don't count that offset square. So we'll just put them into the building in the first full square of the building. Then I won't give them an order. So at the end of the turn, I'll just move them up with the free movement. And then they've got some cover this side of the board. That's not too bad. And then we have a lot of firepower over here to guard against this side of the board. That should be a good deployment strategy. And that's all they have to deploy. Again, seems like a lot fewer units than yesterday, and we'll see how this goes. And I'll move the camera to the north edge and we'll lay out the Russians, and then we'll see how they're going to deploy, and then we'll start the turns. I realized I forgot to put the German AT team. You'll come back and see them later, but I have them on the board now. Put them in the crater with the lieutenant. They should be fine. Then for the Russians, the lieutenant, since he's the one racing down, I am going to, I think I overloaded the right side of the field. I'm going to stick the lieutenant over here on the left. It's really hard to play cat and mouse with yourself, right? Because I know exactly what I'm thinking, but we're going to try and get something going here. We're going to do almost a counter to what the Germans are doing. I'm going to have ready to get into this building a DP-28, so they can also provide cover fire for the lieutenant, and he will be escorted by a couple of fire teams. We'll just start you in a crater, probably doesn't matter, but maybe move a couple teams into this building and provide cover on this left flank. And then we're going to move, I'm going to put 2 fire teams into this building. Because the offset squares, the offset building squares, they can't deploy in those. Those aren't really counted. So we'll just have them in the building. Then they can move up and they can fire out. A little limited on the angles there, but they will be able to kind of provide some cover this way. I then have a Frontovic, which we'll just stick him here and he'll move up. Mostly what I've got, the Russians are just going to mostly just come forward. Just push on. Push south, essentially. And we'll see how it goes from there. As we move to the movement and stuff like that, I'll probably pause the camera more often, zoom into that part of the field, because I don't know how easily you can see things from way up there. And I don't want you to miss a whole lot. I want you to be able to see some of the symbology on counters and things like that. What we'll do now is I'll move the camera a little bit. We'll draw the initial 3 cards that each side will have. and we should be good to start after that. That's always the hope, right? Let's take a look at the cards. We'll go ahead and draw Germany first. They get bogged down. Play during the movement action of an enemy unit, except an infantry unit. Ooh. Well, there's no vehicles, so this might just be played as a +1 movement for Lieutenant Yuri. Oh, wrong side. This will be played as a +1 movement for somebody, because there's no vehicles. Opportunity fire. Played during the activation of an enemy unit. During this activation, one of your units can take a firing action as if it has the opportunity fire special ability. Cool. And we would have to look opportunity fire, but I believe opportunity fire works as long as they haven't taken their action yet. Alright, we'll keep that in mind. And then we have fall back. Play when one of your infantry units suffers a hit or would be destroyed by an assault. Ooh, that's good to know, because that might happen. We might have some assault. So ignore the result and place a suppressed marker on your unit. If your unit has the change of state special ability, flip its token to the side with the highest movement value. Your unit must retreat 2 squares regardless of its movement value. If your opponent is the attacker, his unit must move into the square unit originally occupying. Okay, that's nice. So for example, if they assaulted an MG34 team, which was on its deployed side, that's only movement 1. This is saying you would flip the MG34 team to its side with the 3 movement arrows and say, yeah, we're getting the heck out of Dodge. So that's cute. I'll take that. That would probably also work for hidden units. Oh, and the AT rifle, they could deploy hidden, but yeah, I'm not going to worry about it. They're going to, again, that's probably like a good sniper unit, but I'm not going to worry about. Speaking of flipped sides, oh, you can't see what I just did. I picked them up and kind of looked at. They have hidden. I'm just going to leave them deployed on the field because I'm going to use them to shoot stuff. That's the 3 starting German cards. Let's look what the Russians are getting. Russian card 1. Niet. Play at any time. Cancel an action card your opponent just played. That action card is returned to your opponent's hand. It can be played again next turn. Then we have Bogged Down. Oh, that's the one Yuri wants. Play during the movement action of an enemy unit except an infantry unit. But no vehicles. So we'll go ahead and take the +1 movement for Yuri probably. Then we have Thank the Helmet. Play when one of your infantry units suffers a hit or is destroyed by a firing action. Ignore the result and place a suppressed marker on your unit. This card cannot be used during an assault. Nice. I think they probably got some pretty decent cards this time around. And like usual, I'll probably forget about them, but I will do my best. I'm going to lay the cards across the top of the northern edge of the map. I can see them, but that doesn't mean I will always remember they're there. All right, I'm going to move the cards. Russians have first initiative, so we'll come back and we'll start placing the order markers, and then we'll go ahead and get moving. So be back in a moment. All right, one thing I did not mention at all, and that's important because we're going to place these order tokens, and Russians have initiative, and I'm going to play the Russian side this time. I'm going to use the random activation marker method for the German player. And I figured that would be best simply because I might get greater control of actually getting Yuri off the board. But here's the thing we didn't talk about. There's only 2 orders. We didn't discuss that when we looked at the forces. The German player, they didn't get a support unit in where their other activation order star is. So they're just going off of the Lieutenant Volrath. So I need to keep him alive, because if he dies, then it's over for Germany. Or I should say the AI, artificial intelligence, to keep them alive. Then there's only 2 for the Russian player, which isn't that bad actually, because what this does is allows you to have, the chance to fire is mostly what these are going to be good for. Maybe move something first before your opponent that you want to guarantee gets in, like to capture a square objective or something like that. But since everything gets to move in the supply phase, for this particular game, it's mostly going to be used for maybe determining who fires first. I might not even have to place one of these on Yuri to move first, since he will get to move in the supply phase. But this will let me put some units into position to take shots at things. That's what I'm thinking. Alright, so with that in mind, let's go ahead up north and place a couple of these activation tokens. Right, I gave it some thought. Since everybody is going to be moving in that supply phase, I'm just going to go ahead and place 1 and 2 here. It doesn't really matter at this point. Like I said, this is really going to be more important for if I have to do any shooting actions. Make sure I didn't miss anything on the reference sheet. Got the cards, scenario-specific effects. We got the number of order tokens, place the tokens. No more than a single. Yeah, we're doing good so far. Okay, and we're going to come south now and randomly assign the Germans. All right, I'm going to go ahead. I've got the two bluff tokens mixed in. So we're going to shake those up and try to put them. I was hoping to shake them up, place them face down. We'll just kind of mix them up a little bit. All right, so I don't know who's what. What I'm going to do is just kind of place randomly here. Let's get the AT rifle team moved up. I like the idea of them here. A little bit of protection. I realize taking the house probably isn't that important for the German player. For the Russian player, it might actually be pretty good because they have windows they can fire south, provide some cover fire for this southeast portion of the map. But there's no windows or anything that would give fire protection going up to the north. So if the Germans took it, they can't use that to fire out. But if the Russians take it, they can use that to fire south and down. So maybe I would put a German in there just to, keep the Russians from taking it. So I think I'll still do that. It's just as far as a fire point, maybe not as strong as a position for the German player. But I'm not going to move the AT there. I'm going to move a fire group. I'm going to change it. Let's see. Because this fire group, maybe we can move up in. Again, everybody's going to move in the supply phase, but we're going to see if I can get up in here first at some point. All right, that sounds good. Since the Russian player had initiative, yeah, it'll just be a lot of moving the camera back and forth, I think. So hopefully I don't give you whiplash by pausing and editing out to the turn kind of a thing. All right, let's go move the first Russians. All right, this should actually be a pretty good zoom level. I think you can see everything pretty good. This is marker 1. They have 3 movement, so it's going to be 1, 2, and we're not going to leave. But now we have set up a base of fire here. So if anybody comes up, it's out of range, out beyond 7 squares, but we could probably start shooting at things that come this way. So there we go. Squad 1, move. For the German player, I went ahead and faced all of their tokens up as well. And turned out this fire group was number 1. We'll go ahead and move them. 1, 2, 3. Kind of move them around the building. Place that face down. Done. Let's go move Unit 2 of the Russians. Unit 2 is just going to move up, so we have a nice base support of fire. And then we need to move 2, and they're done. And now we have this anchored, and we can start shooting at units that move up this way. And this unit over here, German 2, will come up. I probably should have moved them into this building as well. I think I still can. We can move in. Yeah, I really want the machine gun there, so he's got support. What we'll do is I'll move the fire group into the bushes, so they get a little bit of cover, not much, but they might be a little safer. 1, 2, 3. I don't see any movement costs or penalties, so we'll go ahead and move them there and flip. And that actually would be the end of the activations. So then we would move on to the supply phase. So there's no effects to resolve. Discard all bluff tokens. So I'll take the bluff tokens off just for the German player. We don't have any madness markers. That would be if you're playing like the Cthulhu rules, Shadows over Normandy, so we don't have that at all. Make all required terror checks. No, need it. Move all or part of the units in his army that don't have order tokens. So we're at that part. Okay, cool. We don't have any suppressed markers to remove. No other into supply phase actions I can think of. And then I don't need to discard any cards, and I didn't play any. And then we'll move the initiative marker. So here we go. The Russian player actually gets to move their stuff first because they had the initiative. So we'll move up, see what they're doing. We have a lot over here, including Lieutenant Yuri. I gotta be careful because Lieutenant Yuri is in the open, so we have to, move him up. Not a lot of cover. Maybe I should have put him on the other side of the board where there's some bushes and trees and craters, but we're gonna be brave. We're gonna hop into this building. What am I doing here? I want to move, I got to move this DP-28 team so they're at this corner. And then they have a nice wide range of fire. So we're going to move them first. 1, 2, and they're in. And I don't know what kind of support he can provide from his position. So I'm actually going to swing him around and try to get to the crater. 1, 2, 3, and Lieutenant Yuri. Yeah, go big or go home, buddy. Well, he's got 4 movement. 1, 2, 3, 4. I mean, that puts him way out. I might want to come over here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hit those bushes as well, and then you're going to come straight up. 1, 2, 3. And we've got one other lone Russian over here. Let's get him moved. And don't forget your buddy here. 1, 2, 3. Nice. Now we'll go ahead, come south, and we'll put the Germans in position. Let's get the MG-34. I had them in the deployed side. I don't know why. They still got to move. I think I had them the other way. I think I was talking about something, flipped them, but they should come up here. Is that cheating? No, it's not cheating. 1, 2. And my gentlemanly opponent said, oh, if you meant to have them on the other side at start of game, go ahead and put them the sides you want. Thank you, opponent. And now at the end of the movement, they will put on their deployed side. And now they have dominating command of this side of the table, which is exactly what I wanted from them. Perfect. Let's move some of the other dudes up here. Okay, so we've completely denied the left side. We're going to completely deny the right side of movement as well. So we're going to move them up. 1, 2, 3, into a crater for protection. The fire group, yeah, they're moving to that building. Well, we're just going to push up, right? Go big or go home. 1, 2, 3. Nobody likes me to just sit around for 20 minutes, just figuring everything out. So we're gonna throw strategy to the wind. I'm gonna move them up 1. There's strategy for you, and you can move up. What's nice is since there's no command range, it doesn't matter where I put Lieutenant Volrath. In fact, part of me thinks I just want to move him back somewhere, because again, if he dies, I lose all my orders. That's it for the Germans. So I think I'll just leave him right here for now, out of the line of fire. And that's it. Well, I'm not discarding any cards. We're going to go ahead and swing right around into turn 2. I have advanced and didn't show you. Oh, here, you know what? I should do this. Let's make this look somewhat professional. Germany, turn 2. All right, we're gonna mix up these order tokens here. And let's start placing. Since I want to get right up into Lieutenant Yuri's face, you are getting a marker. And you want to shoot Lieutenant Yuri, you're getting a marker. And you want to get into the house to deny use of it by the Russians, you get a marker. And the AT gunfire, let's move them here. The AT gun wants to take shots at the people in the building. Because again, even with a miss, they get suppression. You get a marker. Nice. Now we'll go put some markers on the Russians. Most of the action for the Russians is going to happen over here in the northwest quadrant of the board. I'm going to go ahead and put a DP-28 fire on the Russians because they're going to go ahead and try and shoot at this German unit that's in the open that you can't see. Maybe if I just shift the camera a little bit. We're going to deny them entry into the house. Now we've got Lieutenant Yuri. Now again, he really doesn't have to move right now, but they did have a +1 movement. I do have to do this during the movement action. You know what I'm going to do is I'm not going to play it on Lieutenant Yuri. I'm actually going to play it on this fire team. Play during the movement action. Yeah, so we won't play it yet because it's not the move. I'm still placing orders, but I'm going to move them. And the reason why is because I want them to get in here to try and clash with this German unit to keep the melee off of him. And instead of moving this unit, which you can't see, so re-strategizing for Germany, instead of moving him to the house, I think I'm going to redirect him to get to Lieutenant Yuri. It looks like I might have to start shifting forces over. Now that everybody knows Lieutenant Yuri is over here on the west side of the board, time to start shifting troops over. Now we have to do is determine which German unit is going to move first. So I was pausing the camera every 2 seconds, but hopefully y'all don't mind a little bit of movement, maybe a mixture of both. But let's reveal. Bluff! Okay, they got a bluff. They're moving second. MG34 is first. That's exactly what they wanted. So they lucked out there. And the AT team is a bluff. Oh, okay, so yesterday I wasn't too sure about random assigning of these activation tokens. This is actually kind of cool. This is not playing out exactly what I thought it would play out. So it leaves a little bit of surprise for me. I'm okay with that because I had plans for all these folks, but these are the two I get to play with. I'm okay with that. Since the Germans have initiative this time, the MG34 team is going to go first, and they want to kill Lieutenant Yuri. Oh, they do clip through 1 square of brush, so that's going to be -1 to their dice roll. And Lieutenant Yuri is already tough to hit. So let's grab the magical dice tower. Let's grab one of the magical Russian dice. What do we need to make the magic happen? Oh, you can't even see Lieutenant Yuri right now. Let's shift a little bit. And that line of sight marker just barely clipped through that square. So I'm going to give them the penalty. But they get +4. In their deployed side, it's +4 against targets. Wow. What's his total defense? Well, really, it's a defense of 6. So we have +4. Normally I need a 3 to hit. You know what? They're going to spend 1 ammo token to give themselves a +1. They're going to tear him up. Let's just roll. We'll figure out the specifics in a second because I have a really bad habit of sometimes rolling 1s. So I'm shaking it. I rolled a 2. Well, I think we're okay. I think with the +1, we're going to be fine. Well, first of all, I know there's a -1 line of sight penalty, so that will cancel out the ammo. Okay, that's why I put that in there. I wanted to cancel out that line of sight. So 1 ammo used up. I've got 2 left. Then I have +4. Okay, how many squares away am I? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. No penalties for range, actually. And yeah, he's got 6 defense. I think that's a hit. 4 + 2 is a 6. Yeah. Okay, way to go. Lieutenant Yuri, we played that badly. Sorry, buddy. So sorry. 1 more hit and he is out. Okay. I didn't think it would go that way, but it certainly did. I didn't roll a 1. Alright, so we got to move this out of the way. Let's see what the Russians are going to counter with. Alright, I had a slight change of plan. The DP-28 was going to shoot at this fire group that's out here in the open. But I think what's better is we're going to shoot this group that's in the brush here, because we want to try and clear open this path completely as much as possible. Actually, you know what I should do is try to take out that MG-34 unit, but they are buried into that building of rubble. I might have to send troops to try and rush the MG-34 team to try and take them out, because that right there I think is going to be the single thing that kills Lieutenant Yuri. Now that I'm playing out this scenario, I'm rethinking entirely how I would have deployed and played this. So this might be the one I play a part 2 on. I definitely would be better with a second player to try and outthink myself. Yeah, because now what do I want to do? I would need they get +2 defense. They would need a 7 and they get +2. I'm going to hit on like a 5. I'd have to roll really good to take out that MG-34 team. You know what? Go big or go home. That's what that DP-28 is for, baby. Okay, so I need a 5. I don't have any bonuses to hit or anything like that other than the +2 of the DP-28 team. What I could do, though, is put suppression. Let me refresh myself on the suppression rules, because that might be the better thing to do. That would put big hit penalties on the MG-34 and help clear the path for Lieutenant Yuri. Or at least let a team eventually move up so they could assault the MG-34. I think that's what I'll do. Let me refresh myself on that rule. Alright, I'm going to change it a little bit. The suppressive fire is going to let me double my odds of hitting. That's only going to give me a +4. And, I mean, that does make it easier for me to put some suppression on there. But since they've already acted and suppression comes off at the end of the turn, that might not be as good of a plan as I wanted. That would be really good at the beginning of turn number 3, because then I could put down suppressive fire with the DPM, and that would give them a penalty with the DP. So what I'm going to do is go back to the original. I'm going to do a kill on this German unit here to help clear that path, and then suppressive fire at the beginning of the Russian turn. See, I'm strategizing. And that's what we're going to do. Now, I did check line of sight. It doesn't clip this square if I look straight down on top of it. So they will get a +1 defense for the bush. So a little bit easier to hit than the MG team anyway. So they got a +3. Oh wait, wrong person. They get their defense is 5. So I have a +2 on the attack. So I need like a 3 or better to hit. That's much better to hit odds. 1 star is the star. That's the Russian star, and I'm making sure it is a 6. Should have went against the MG-34 team. I couldn't guarantee I'd roll a 6 to take out the MG-34, but I did hit these guys here, so we'll flip them. Flip. I mean, they're still there. It's not like I got to take them out, but they are less of a threat now. Less of a threat. Yeah. Good. All right. Hey, camera's right here, so we'll go back to the Russian player. He's going to do that, play that +1 move. Yeah, get up there. So discard. And they're going to move 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. I did have an opportunity fire card. Ooh. Well, I won't need to do opportunity fire. I'll just have them fire group fire right there out in the open. Alright, so they're done. So I'm going to put that face down. And again, the reason why is because I want to force some kind of melee or something here against that German unit and just totally clear that path. But I have too many German units here to go after Lieutenant Yuri. Okay, so number 2, fire group. Hey, hello, Russians. They're going to take a shot. Let's roll the die, and then we'll add in some modifiers. Only a 2. They got +2. So what do they need to hit? So they have a defense of 4. Oh, I think they missed. Because they have a defense of 4, and they get +1, so that's a total of defense of 5. They get a +2. +2 to the die roll is only a 4. If they weren't in the bushes, that would have been a hit. Amazing. Okay, well, no problemo. Boop. I thought it, yeah, for some reason I thought I just needed it always feels like I need 5s and 6s to shoot stuff, but that wasn't too bad. It was just a really poor die roll. Okay, that was the second Russian. And yeah, the second German. All right, cool. Then we would go through the supply phase. And just making sure we got that. We don't have any effects for the supply phase. Discard my 2 bluff tokens off of these 2 German units. No madness, no terror check. Okay, then we're going to move everybody. And I don't have suppressed markers to remove. See, that's one reason I didn't want to put suppression on the MG34 anyway right now, because it's going to come right off. And I don't think I would have scored enough to double the defense value, which would have made it 2 suppression markers, just because that MG team has a good defense and they're dug in. So we did okay with that one. Alright, so let's move. And then the Russians have the initiative this time, so they get to move. You can see the lieutenant, so we'll go ahead and move him first. 1, 2, 3, 4. They are rushing. Rushing, rushing, rushing. And can we see this one? Yeah, we're going to move him up. 1, 2. Give him a little bit of protection, and then he can fire. Maybe take that unit out. And I'm going to shift the camera over a little bit so you can see on this side of the board. I'm going to move this one up. I'm going to only move them one up because that will still give them a little bit of cover. And then next turn we can maybe rush. Well, let's see. 1, 2. Oh, we can move in there now. 1, 2, 3. It will deny the German player from taking that. They would have to melee to get in there. Which we can now take a look at the Germans, which I'm going to just shift the camera a little bit here. And I think that lieutenant will stay there. He'll stay put. The rifle team. I think they'll stay put too. They'll move. And they'll move. 1, 2. One of these is going to assault, which is scary because the Frontovic have a better defense. They're like armored. They're wearing some vest protection or something. Then we could discard cards. We're not going to discard. When do I draw? I think in the order phase of the next turn we would draw up to our missing card. Oh, no, that's here. Discard. And then we draw. So I got to draw a Russian card to replace the one I spent. What do we have? They got dynamic. Play during the activation phase. You can move one of your order tokens onto a unit that doesn't have one and is not yet acted this turn. Has no activated marker. Okay, cool. I might not need that because I've only got 2 orders, so it's not like I have a lot to worry about. I'm going to advance the turn marker, which you can't see. I'll just move it over here. I'm not a professional unit, so we'll make this somewhat here. Okay, so we're going to swing around here. Getting to the new turn. Russian, turn 3. Okay, cool. And cut. Now I can take all these order tokens off. We're going to count up what we have. I still got 2 for the Russian player. And I have an idea exactly where they're going. I'm just going to shift over here. They are exactly going here. 1, 2, 3. Oh, he can almost get off the board. You can't see. This is 3 away. 4 is almost right there. So what we're going to do is I'm going to play this on the fire team because I want them to assault. They're going to assault. I think they will have the not much of an advantage because they're only +1, but they got +2. That extra +1 might help. So I think they're going to do an assault. And oof, gosh. Now this is tough. This is tough because I also want to try and suppress the MG34. Okay, so that's what we'll do. Because I think, actually, my line of sight, MG34 line of sight blocked, but they can shoot there. So I am definitely going to try and suppress the MG34 here. Okay, and now I've got the blocks here for the German player. Shuffle them up a bit. That didn't land the way I wanted. Okay, I'm going to close my eyes, shuffle these around on the board. I didn't really shut my eyes, but I just said I did to make it look fair. Okay, they are mixed up though. I'm going to put a token here, a token here, a token here, and a token on this AT team. Yeah, not a lot of combat happening over here. Really, the focus now is maneuvering over here. All right, let's reveal the activation. Oh, first bluff. No MG34 this time. Second, and nothing on the AT. In my mind, narrative, I like story. The MG34 had a jam, and they got to spend this turn clearing the jam and reloading. Narrative works for me. All right, so we could start. I'm going to just shift the camera, because see, as we focus on the field here, I can leave the camera kind of in this side a little bit. There we go. Oh, so this changes what I'm going to do. Since, see, this is why the two-player would be cool, because, you know, I wouldn't know that the MG34, which is kind of off camera a little bit, had the bluff. So the DP28 is free now. Oof. Yeah, it is kind of cheating a little bit. It's interesting, but we're going to, again, we're going to shoot here at this unit. No. We're going to shoot here. Yes, that's exactly what we're doing. Let me die roll. Because if I roll a 1, then I know it's not worth. Roll a 2. It still might not be worth it. But they're in the open. So their defense is 4, no train bonuses. They got a +2. That actually is a hit. So we'll flip them. Yep, shooting things in the open. Good. Okay, and they have been activated. Number 1. Okay, for the win. Well, maybe not the win. But we're going to have this fire group move in here to attack the lieutenant. I'm going to just reread the assault rules real quick. Oh, wait, what's here? That's just firing. I think I remember it's mostly you're going to roll 2 dice 6 versus 2 dice 6. We have no bonuses to add. There's no pluses on our daggers. So I think it's just going to be 2 dice 6, take your highest roll, add your anti-infantry value, and that one wins. But I'm going to just refresh, and I'll be right back. But I think I remember that's how you do it. Okay, yeah, that was pretty much the gist of it. Since they both have the assault value, they're going to both roll 2 dice 6, keep the highest one, apply their combat modifier, compare it against the defense, and see who wins. Alright, so this is for the money. I've got 1 Russian die, 2 Russian die, 2 German dice. Oh, well, this might be a tie. I'm going to take the 2 low results out. Okay, so the German player rolled a 6 plus his 1. That gives a 7, which would be enough to destroy the guy. But we rolled, 6 plus 1 is, you know, I think Lieutenant Yuri just died. 5 plus the 1 for Lieutenant Yuri. Well, they killed each other. So let's see, how do we do that? I I guess technically the attacker got the higher die roll? Yeah, that would make the attacker the winner. Because that's a 7 versus a 6. Yep. So you don't even have to worry about the defense numbers, just who scored higher. Yeah, so Lieutenant Yuri died. And thank you for watching Scenario 3. I had things in mind that I thought would work out great. Lieutenant Yuri was one turn away from getting off of the board. Yep. Okay. Well, tune in next time and, we'll see what happens. I don't know. Maybe I'll play a different game. I don't know. But that's another game of Heroes of Stalingrad. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Lieutenant Yuri's gone. I could talk strategy for a second. Now that I've played this through once, I probably would have done a lot more. I don't know. It's interesting. With only 2 orders and you have so many troops, you can move troops around with the supply. I don't know. Maybe I just need to just play this with my kid and have that second person to help with strategy. I know my son would play the Russians, and he would be throwing out some very interesting things to cover Lieutenant Yuri and get him up there. He probably would have kept Lieutenant Yuri back for a while and just pushed all his other folks forward as like a horde and tried to force a lot of melee combat. And then, put a good screen. And then once he had one of these flanks broken, if you will, then he would have started moving Lieutenant Yuri up. And that's probably what I could do next time. But I think the German player did pretty good. Obviously, they won. I think they had it easier. They just had to sit back and wait for the Russians to come to them. So, yeah, not bad. I think this gives you a little bit more play action. I still like the game, for sure. I'm just, as a solo person, still trying to think of a good way. But I thought this worked out pretty good this time. This gave me some good narrative concern. And, the German player still won. So I guess as far as a solo game goes, that actually worked out really good. Because as a human player, I lost. Which means I got to rethink my strategy even against this AI. Okay, I feel better about it. I shouldn't win easily. I should have a bit of a challenge when playing against an AI. And the AI won. Overall then, good game. Alright, well, on that positive note, I will see you all later. And we'll see what hits the tabletop for next time. Alright, thanks for watching. Bye.